Hi, my name is Andre Johnson, and today I would like to tell you about a company called Position Logic. Position Logic is a business to business location based services provider, and they operate in 50 countries across the world, but they were initially a US based company. To start with, I'd like to tell you about the prior growth processes of the company, and primarily one growth process. Position Logic really achieved their success by expanding into foreign markets. Now, their goal with expanding into foreign markets was to yield rapid new customer acquisition. So I think this would be classified as a top line growth strategy because instead of focusing on the bottom line and profits, they were focusing on increasing revenue and increasing market share. So, a few suggestions for why the venture grew. First, they had a competitive advantage, and we all know what a competitive advantage is. It's when you do something better than any of your other competition. And in Position Logic's case, they had a software that was unique in the sense that it tracked any GPS device, regardless of manufacturer or computer language. And at the time, no other software in the market could do this. So they were a little bit ahead of their competition in that regard. Now, the second factor I would say was their decision to sell to businesses rather than end consumers. Now, when you have this global expansion in mind and you're trying to acquire customers quickly, you need to be able to accomplish an unmatchable scale. So instead of selling software directly to end users, which can take a lot longer, a lot more marketing spending, the company decided to sell to entrepreneurs who resold their software under their brands. So the aim, again, was to be the standard software operating platform. And again, to do this, they had to accomplish that huge scale. And then the third fact was that they were affordable and thus very accessible in the market. So they had an extensive number of devices integrated into their platform, and this wide variety really gave them a broader range of functionality, which allowed companies in different sectors to choose from a wide variety of devices. And this pretty much dissolved any previous constraints about cost or applicability for their potential clients. And really, the broader range of functions within their products can now work on behalf of more companies with differing needs. So now to explain the processes that the venture grew, the diversification was their main key to success. And by diversification, I really mean that they were working into different countries. And this global expansion was really focused on countries with lower entrepreneurial barriers than the United States, and really lower costs to enter into the market. Obviously, we know that the U.S. has long permitting processes and a lot of bureaucratic hassles. So by focusing on countries without these constraints, they were able to expand a lot more quickly. Another contributor to their venture growth, in my opinion, was their organizational vision. The co-founder said in an interview that they operate around a framework called PPT, People, Process, and Technology. And from their inception, the company was really focused on always having industry-leading customer service and technology, and making sure that their platform was not only the most powerful, but also among the easiest to use. So again, this all relates back to accessibility. If you want to grow quickly, you have to have a product that's very easy for your customers to use and very affordable for your customers. So lastly, a few factors that might be linked to whether the growth was successful for the organization. First, when in 2008, when the company first started, the market was very focused on traditional applications for GPS, like enterprise, fleet management, aka very high demand industries, which could really shoulder the high cost of GPS tracking, because at the time there wasn't very many personal applications for GPS tracking. Machines hadn't learned, and machine to machine communication wasn't at the point yet where GPS was very applicable, for example, in a smartphone. But as the concept of the connected home really began to emerge due to companies like Apple, who created devices that communicated across platforms, it really created viability for more personal applications, such as tracking of children, pets, cars, elderly people with Alzheimer's, employees, etc. And so, these forces really created a space for Position Logic to enter into. Now, one more factor was the emergence of crowdfunding. Now, this wasn't a factor that directly contributed to the growth of Position Logic because they, as a company, actually did not use any outside funding and only used internal cash flows to finance the growth of the business. But what this emergence of crowdfunding did was enable other startups, aka competitors, to gain access to funding, which put more external pressure on the company to expand into more niche markets like personal tracking, which is where they found a great deal of success.